to begin.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. I apologize for not being in the room to greet you. I was making fun of people who can't make it on time to Zoom meetings at our first meeting. And then lo and behold, I got stuck at the office and didn't get home in time to jump on. So karma. So welcome. It's really great to have you all. And we're very excited that you're interested in bringing some of your youth to the delayed 2021 youth gathering. I want to take a moment just to make sure that you know who's on the screen with us and who's coordinating. So I'm Laura Barbens, I'm the bishop. Hello. And Darlene Waugh, who was already speaking to you, you probably already know her, but she is the Synod coordinator for the gathering. And that is such an incredibly important position. And Darlene has been doing that coordination for as long as I've been in the Synod, which is over 2 decades now. So special shout out to her and thanks to her.
Thanks.
She is also, if you are interested in learning what Synod coordinator is all about, and you might want to help with this in future gatherings, I'm sure Darlene would be happy to talk with you about that. Also with us is Pastor Kathy Cluck, who's waving her hands, still in the dark.
Not as dark.
And Kathy is the, she coordinates Synod Day, which you'll hear more about if you've never been to an ELCA youth gathering. And as long as we've been having Synod Days, Pastor Cluck has been organizing Synod Days. And so a thank you to her. That is also quite a job. So both of these are unpaid positions. So although this year I'm going to double what they've gotten in previous years because I'm just that generous. Also on is our Zoom guru, Sonny Gilroy, and she's part of your Synod staff. So she's making sure that screens get shared and all that stuff. Also, 2 additions to our usual cast of characters. Paul is also on the call and he's raising his hand. Paul Travaglianti. Did I do it right? I think I did. Travaglianti. And so he is going to be coordinating Synod bus travel. If you're going by airplane, don't get in touch with Paul. But if you want to go by bus and do a little sharing of buses with other congregations, Paul is going to coordinate all of that. Finally, we're really glad Leslie Eisenhart is also on the call tonight, and she is helping Darlene. Leslie is like this incredible whiz with spreadsheets and organization. If you participated in day 1 of the assembly, if anything went right, it was because Leslie did it. And if anything went wrong, it's because I stuck my fingers into the pie. So a big thanks to this Your Gathering team. And with that, I am going to turn it back over to Darlene.
Well, Thank you, and thank you all for joining us. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, so let's start with begin with a brief devotion. We are so grateful for all the work that you're doing in the Synod and with your youth and with your home congregations. And we know that COVID has interrupted the good work that we're doing, and we pray for you and that you're finding ways to move forward to build excitement about the gathering. We're going to share Matthew 5:13, which says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but it is thrown out and trampled underfoot." COVID has certainly taken the flavor out of the experiences and maybe even a bit of our souls. But Jesus reminds us that we are the salt of the earth, full of flavor and gusto, with gifts and abilities to share. It's easy to look back on the challenges, but we're going to focus on some positives. Instead of thinking that this might be a smaller group for a gathering, let's push for this to be the best youth experience for faith formation that every high school student is going to experience. There's no reason we can't accomplish this. Haven't we been apart for long enough? Instead of thinking we won't be able to fundraise enough, remember that some youth have already been fundraising for the past 2 years now due to COVID. Congregations are more than ready to get behind our youth for this very valuable faith and life experience. Some might be wondering about safety in Minneapolis. The gathering has always been in a large city where there are a myriad of issues involving safety. The gathering safety and security team has thought of everything, every scenario and situation, and creates a gathering opportunity that is extremely safe. All the gathering planning teams consider every question, every possible scenario related to their area in the gathering. The teams includes experts, thoughtful, mindful planners who prepare well thinking, always to the audience of the youth and the adults who are coming. The experiences for life and nurturing of faith at the gathering cannot be duplicated anywhere else. In fact, where else do thousands line up every single day to go to church? And not only once, but more than once a day to go to church. Registration is beginning next month. Now's the time to bring our full salty flavor as we build excitement for the gathering. And if you pray with me this evening. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening after already completed a full day, but we know that you are a boundless God, and you have put just enough in us to continue this conversation. Guide our conversation, our direction, and our paths as we work together for the Minneapolis Gathering 2022. In your name we pray, amen. So let's begin, and we have a small group, and that's wonderful. And we can do a Q&A at any point. Don't be shy about asking a question. And let's begin with, has everyone on this screen been to a gathering before? Yes. Yes, so we're getting somewhere, right? No, Sarah has never been to a gathering. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sarah, what? You're muted.
Someone else was shaking their head. I was saying yes.
Who was saying no?
I've never been to a gathering, but I've been a chaperone on a mission trip.
Okay, and John, you haven't been to the gathering. Hi, Emily. I didn't get to see you before when you joined. Okay, so we have a few things. So we'll cover all kinds of things, and everyone who has been to a gathering before, chime in at any time. This is by no means like the end-all presentation. So Boundless, same theme 1 year later. Can you all see my screen? That just has a big Boundless. Okay. And the Boundless, these are the dates, July 24th to July 28th. If you've been to a gathering before, you've noticed that we have begun on a Wednesday evening at a mass gathering, and we end on Sunday morning with worship. But this year, we are not running that cycle. We are beginning on Sunday, July 24th, and we are ending on Thursday, July 28th. And the reason behind that is because camps came to us and said we were taking out their counselors for 2 consecutive weeks. Could we please try to accomplish this in 1 week and see how we do? So we're trying. This is our first shot at doing this, and we'll see what happens. So we begin on a Sunday and we end on a Thursday, and that's the first change on our Boundless adventure together. These are some updates, and I will share this PowerPoint presentation with all of you and our email contacts. So how to reach me, how to reach our Synod Day, Kathy Cluck, her email, how to reach Paul for bus transportation, and how to communicate with Leslie on some communication, and especially if there's email addresses that you know of that we are not connecting with. Let me say, if you are receiving any emails at all on transportation from an organization called Summit Travel, it is not an authorized travel agency of the ELCA. They found all the gathering coordinators, they found our emails online and told us a whole rundown on how to accomplish air travel. And they've also reached out to all of the bishops, and they're very nice people, but we have not signed any contracts to do that with them. So that's not a thing. So we covered a little bit about who's been to a gathering or who's been to more. And I know about who's going to be adult leaders on here, but let me talk about a primary adult leader. If you register as the primary adult leader, and there will only be one in the for your congregation, you will receive all of the primary contact from the gathering offices. So you will get your hotel assignments, you'll get your confirmation of your registration, you'll get your financial updates, you will receive all of that. So if you are the primary adult leader, that's one of the roles that you'll be taking on. So especially, John, if you're registering people and turning it over, that's something that you'd have to be mindful of, that your email may be in that address for the whole next year in that cycle to keep track of. And our agenda for, let me close some of these speakers' views. Our agenda for this evening to discuss some things are the gathering overview, the registration, our getting ready materials, which are devotions to do beforehand, how to choose an adult leader, and some resources that are available to you. I was going to show this video, and if you click on, don't click on your screen, it won't work, but if you visit elca.org/gathering, which is the main host page for the gathering, and the very first drop down, click about and kickoff, click on kickoff celebration. It is a new video that was just produced last and downloaded last week. It's 35 minutes long. That's why we're not showing it tonight, but it's worth the information that you receive on the gathering to view that and view it with your youth. Our theme for the gathering, I'm not going to read it. We know the theme is boundless, and we've talked a little bit about it, but it is focusing on Ephesians 3 verses 14 to 21. And here are some of the goals and the ideas behind the gathering and how the theme was developed. So the mission for the gathering is worship, and worship is absolutely wonderful at the gathering, interactive learning, a Bible study, which is also our Synod Day, a service opportunity, and many, many hours of fellowship. And for those that are new to a gathering, worship will happen every single day. And your congregation, and most likely our synod, will be assigned to a specific track. And our synod will go through the Interactive Learning Center together, which is a huge, massive conference or convention center. If it's not interactive, it can't be in there. You may build a house with Habitat for Humanity. You may find a vocation of a calling in there from an organization that's in there. You may sit and have a Bible study. You may learn more about Lutheran World Relief. You may carry a jug of water.
Tinkle Town.
Yep.
Tinkle Town.
So you may learn how to get to a bathroom in a wheelchair. You may learn how to pedal a bicycle and see how long it takes for you to pedal before you can make a milkshake on the Vitamix that's attached to the back wheel. It is loads and loads of fun. So we will be assigned, it will be open multiple days, but we'll have a specific day because our goal is to have 30,000 people there. And they break it down into 10,000, which seems mind-boggling, right? But we break it down into 10,000 day groups. The Bible study, which is our Synod Day, and that we will get more information on that from Pastor Kathy Cluck. One thing that's different in Minneapolis versus other gatherings, Minneapolis has many, many large Lutheran churches. And because of that, the churches are going to host us instead of moving us into main ballrooms of different hotels all over the city. And they're also going to provide lunch. So it is a day that we will absolutely receive lunch. So in your financial planning, that lunch will be included. Equally in our day of service, as we will go out and you see orange shirts. Orange shirts began in the New Orleans gathering when it was the very first time that we attempted to go out 10,000 people a day in a day of service. We were known as the orange shirt people that day, that gathering, and we continue to be the orange shirt people. So our service day, you'll receive those t-shirts, and you will also be receiving a luncheon that day also. So that's taken care of. And fellowship will simply happen throughout the entire experience while you're in Minneapolis. The goals of the gathering, and we touched on a few of these, are throughout the gathering. We'll hear about this from the speakers. We'll hear about this in the Interactive Center. We'll certainly hear about this through our Synod Day and of course through service and learning together. The multicultural youth. So there are two pre-gathering events, and one is called MILE, from Multi-Youth Leadership Event, and it is open for 3 days for youth of color whose first language is not English. Is there anyone, does that describe a congregation here on this call that we may have people in MILE? Anyone? I don't see anyone shaking their heads. Right, did I miss anyone? Okay. It's a wonderful leadership event. If you come across people that you're doing shared ministry with, certainly encourage them to check out MILE. There's an additional registration for it. Everything's described on this page, but we won't go into that since we don't have anybody here in MILE. Equally in MILE, after MILE, we have the table. Young people living with disabilities and their caretaker. Does anyone here think we'll have anyone attending for the table? And that's also a pre-gathering experience. No one for the table also. Okay. But again, be familiar with this in case you come across someone who is interested in this or get a question about that. And how to promote. So it's clearly been a strange year. However, we are reaching people, right? We're reaching them in all kinds of avenues. These are just a few. Whatever social media that you're doing to get the gathering information out. Tell me a little bit about the size of your groups that you're thinking right now. Are you into registrations? My home church is Messiah Lutheran. I can tell you, we have taken approximately 25 to 30 people in the past. Through everything else that's happening, we probably have our hands around 10 people right now that are concrete people registering. Can you share anything about your churches and what you're looking at? Or where you're at in registration? Anyone?
I don't even know if we have any adults who are willing to commit to this at this point. We might have 3, 4, 5, 6
Youth?
I don't really have a firm sense of that. I just came in the middle of COVID, so.
We understand.
We're
So-
just sort of vaguely getting together with youth committee people and saying, we should probably do something. Yeah. So
Has your congregation attended a gathering before?
yes, some people have done that in the past.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully there'll be excitement from your congregation. Anyone else? Anyone else working with numbers yet?
Well, Holy Trinity's got a little gap. We've got a couple folks that are in high school, and then we have a lot of preschoolers. So we have some gap years there, but there's probably about 6 that we could probably
Okay,
be looking at.
good. And Leslie, who would be organizing it at Holy Trinity?
I'm pretty sure it's Pastor David Nevergall.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other numbers? Okay. This is also a new event for the Minneapolis gathering. Registration is different. Registration for the gathering, excuse me, will be 100% online. There is no more paper transactions of any kind, including payments. All finances will be done online. All your registration will be done online. All your communication will be done through a new registration portal that is being launched for this gathering. So you will receive information and it will be posted on the website, a registration webinar to attend on August 19th. I don't have the time yet, and I'm certain it will be recorded, but it is something to keep in mind, August 19th, to check this out either that day or a few days later, so you know how to register and the process to go through for the gathering. Thanks. As my husband's handing me water, I've been talking all day. Okay, these are the registration dates. Early registration begins September 22nd. And you can notice that it increases as the days go on. So for 2 months, registration is at $350, and then it increases to $390, and then finally $440. There is a $150 non-refundable per person deposit at time of registration. It clearly, I can't emphasize non-refundable enough. The gathering is self-sufficient and self-paying, so that if you're registering and something happens along the way, try to fill that spot later. And you'll also notice everything is paid for in the gathering on June 22nd, 2022. So that's like 10 months from now that we're completely paying for the entire gathering.
Just a sidebar, if you've never traveled with travel insurance before, this may be a year to add that in. And if you don't have any idea what that is, find a travel agent in your community and ask them about travel insurance, because this might be the year.
That's a great thought. Absolutely.
So they'll pay some expenses in case something is canceled because a kid can't go because of COVID exposure or something like that, for instance.
Yes, yeah,
travel.
and it's usually a very small percentage of the total cost of a trip. And then as long as you have an allowable reason, you will get the whole thing. Oftentimes you'll get the whole thing back. So it's this year, most years I'm like, I'll toss the dice, I'll live on the edge. This is not a year to live on the edge.
And I agree. I would say the exact same thing. Save your money, but this is probably not the year to save the money. Housing. Here is an idea for hotel rates. We are not exempt from hotel taxes in the state of Minnesota. Normally, that is something that we've been able to accomplish in some states, but not in Minnesota. And the gathering contracts all our hotels, and we are all leaders, right? And we can go on whatever website it is and probably find a cheaper room in a location that may be accommodating our group better. But not for this, please, please, not for this, because our gathering transportation is tied to the hotel properties that our contracts are already established with. And you need the gathering transportation to move through the Synod Day, to move to your service location, to do all of that, to get that to downtown to the convention center in Minneapolis. So please, please don't try, or if that idea comes up, and it always bubbles up, please follow the boilerplate that the gathering puts out for determining your hotels. And budget 3 in a room. We contract for with as many doubles as we can. And maybe you're going to end up in a lovely place that's going to have breakfast and suites, and maybe not. There is a thought. We have had gatherings where we've been able to be housed together by a synod. And that's a goal again for this gathering. It's lovely to be together with a synod. I remember one time in New Orleans when the hotel, the property had changed some of our scenarios around in our housing registrations. And Bishop, you helped house some of the people, right? Because we literally had people in a conference room our very first night until they told us like what had happened and how we moved people around and how we had just one of some sex that needed another room. So that may happen.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
I haven't done one of these in a really long time. Wait, my internet is funky. Why do I keep shrinking? That's so weird. Anyway, I also just happen to have some familiarity with Minneapolis area hotel prices. You say that they expect us to budget that is an average. Like, is there a range that they can give us? Because there are outrageously expensive hotels in Minneapolis. Like right by the convention center, for example, that is like,
Right.
plus you get crap value for your money because you have to pay for, everything. So, yeah, is there, or do we just have to get, or is it just, you get what you get?
You get what you
So-
get what you get. And it's entirely possible that we're not staying in those overpriced hotels.
That would be nice.
Yeah. We're also not staying in a low, like in a motel hotel where you're going to drive up. We're not staying in anything like that. The properties are always very, very nice and very secure.
I've also never heard of or seen personally any hotel cost that was over that budget amount that they give. So I don't think it's an average as much of it as it is
Okay.
the high end.
Okay.
The housing,
And what you hope for is the, 120 a night.
Yeah,
hotel
you're doing pretty good to get 120 a night in Minneapolis. So,
right. So
Well,
the
they do
housing-
but we are buying blocks though, so that's gonna make a difference.
Oh, massive blocks. We are buying blocks for 30,000 people. So, and those contracts are already let. And keep in mind, those contracts were booked for 2021, and we didn't go. So they want our business. I mean, they want us to come back and bring all of these people. And we also serve in this community. They want the service that 30,000 hands and feet are able to do on the ground. There is a resource out there, and it's under resources on the ELCA website, and it's called the Official Gathering Handbook. And it looks like this, and it's bound like this. And there are some pages that we'll reference as the PowerPoint continues. If you did not purchase this from Old Lutheran for $10, you can download it for free under resources on the Gathering website. So please do this. This was put together with some very thoughtful adult leaders throughout the years that have thought of everything: sample budgets, how to feed. Here's one: meals feeding for the 30,000. How to figure out meals for all your group. Some how to prepare for a day, how to prepare for Synod Day, how to prepare to stand in line at a mass gathering. Really a wealth of information and worth it for every adult leader that's going to read through this. I don't have this answer. It is the number one question, and I don't have this answer. I see in Cuyahoga County today, we went to mask indoors and mask for teachers and faculty from K through 12 students. It's just too soon to tell. Of course, it's a concern, but I don't know numbers. I don't know any of that yet on COVID, but more to come. Finances. When the 2 o'clock time, people were budgeting around $1,000 a person. Some were budgeting as high as $1,300 a person to attend the gathering. We don't have an exact number for that. A big part is going to depend on your transportation, but there is financial assistance. And financial assistance is open right now, and it is open on the Gathering website on the very front page. When you click on that, you apply as an adult leader. You cannot apply simply as a youth going on and trying to apply for financial assistance. So if there's a family in need, the Gathering's very, very thoughtful and generous on this. It's worth applying. Even if you think you know that one student right now, apply. Once you apply, we're told that we will know if we are granted that assistance within 30 days. And when you register the person in September or October, you only have a 30-day window once you're granted financial aid to have that name registered. So please apply and please register on time for that. And we talked a little bit about costs and a little bit about fundraising. And there's also many fundraising ideas in the book. Some may work for you. Some may be an idea that you have to give to us to add on to that. So think of that. These are the budgeting ideas or budgeting big blocks: the registration, the transportation, your food, housing, and if you're doing some sightseeing or activities there. I've attended many, many gatherings, and I probably attended 3 or 4 gatherings before I even learned that it would be logical to make a meal reservation. I never, ever thought about making a reservation for a group of 30 people to have a meal together. It's a wonderful thought. So as you think through that, and we become familiar with Minneapolis, think through all of those processes. And choosing an adult leader. Again, the people that wrote our handbook, Kathy Hunstead, who is the wife of David Hunstead, who owns Old Lutheran, very thoughtful adult leader and very, very strong on adult leaders, not chaperones. We are truly looking for people who will actively engage adults and participate alongside with their faith journey. So those are the people that we're going to look for to be as your adult leaders. There is a ratio. It's recommended 1:5 or 1:7 because of hotels. So please try to abide by that. And some more ideas on what an effective adult leader will do and how they will be prepared and positive. Everything is not going to go as exactly as we have it laid out. And we need those positive reinforcement that it's okay. We're going to miss buses and things are going to happen. It just does. But in the end, it's all going to work out. And hotels all along the ways. And our grace and the way that the youth see us as we're dealing with others is really, really important. So before the gathering, check on the website. Getting ready materials, also a resource under the website. The getting ready materials are already posted, and they are monthly devotions to prepare you on the walk to get to Minneapolis. There are theme days. The devotions are written. It can be done in a couple hours. It can be broken up over a couple Sundays or weekly or however you want to perceive that, but very thoughtful and worthwhile materials. The more you prepare here, the better off your experience in Minneapolis is going to be. G News. If you haven't signed up for the Gathering newsletter, again, on the website, it's on the very front page. Sign up, get all of the information. If you haven't been receiving it and miss it, again, they're all posted under the resources tab for the Gathering website. And prepare as much as you possibly can. So a little bit about prepare your mindset as a tool. So help your group and to prepare their hearts and minds to as many open and new experiences as possible to dig deeper in their faith. And that's it. That's me. The Gathering is on all of these social media platforms that you can already receive information on. I can stop this and go back to a full screen so I can see all of you. And we can just open it up and answer any questions or thoughts that you may have or tips that you can share with our group that someone's thought of that we haven't thought of yet. Any ideas, anything you want to share? Any fundraising you want to share?
I just moved from Minnesota last November. I spent 13 years in rural Minnesota. So I'm not from the metro. The metro synods are their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will offer the following services if your people are afraid of Minneapolis. Number one, if you like, I will just laugh at them until they get over it because it's hilarious. But number two, I can also give them extremely boring explanations about why Minneapolis is. I have absolutely no reservations about taking youth to Minneapolis. My guess is that Minnesota congregations will struggle with this gathering because rural Minnesota youth think that Minneapolis is boring, not dangerous. Yeah.
There you go. There is public transportation that runs through Minneapolis also. I don't remember what that route is called, but there is that.
yeah, you can get around Minneapolis with public transportation. It's not the best city for public transportation access. I cannot recommend like places to eat in Minneapolis. I can recommend parks to go birding, but that's probably not what you're looking for.
So every year before the gathering, in the year of the gathering, there is an event called the extravaganza. Have you heard about or attended an extravaganza? Anyone here? Okay, the extravaganza is a youth-led and for adults only, and it is a wonderful, refreshing retreat and gathering with insightful leaders, and it's always hosted in the host city of the gathering that year. And it is scheduled for February of next year, and it's usually over Super Bowl weekend for some strange reason. So if you are able to attend the extravaganza, you will get a tour of Minneapolis, and you will be, boots on the ground, and you'll see the hotels, and you'll be able to see some of the service opportunities. And it is also a wonderful thing to be part of if your congregation can possibly send a youth representative or a youth person, a leader, to go there and attend the extravaganza. It's well worth your time, especially in a gathering year.
You will kind of get an idea what things are like in Minneapolis in February, but it will be very grim.
Yes, and it will be very cold.
Yes.
That's
what I mean.
Okay, so this gathering, another thing that's different in this gathering, we are finally in a northern city. We are not going to worry about 118-degree and humidity days while we're trying to serve. We finally hit the north. So we are excited to be in 70 and 80-degree temperatures at some point. For every gathering, also for a service activity, we always do a collection. And in Detroit, we collected diapers. And in Houston, we collected books and a literacy program. And in Minneapolis, we are collecting new socks and underwear. And we have partnered with an organization called The Drawer, and the tagline is "Fill the Drawer." And the goal is to try to bring 300,000 pairs of socks and underwear to Minneapolis to help fulfill that need. And as we've done this think about taking money to Minneapolis and buying the socks and underwear there also, so you're not trying to transport that on your aircraft or in your however it is. Think about that, but that's one of the service project days.
Could we ship that ahead of time?
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can ship it. You can ship it through Amazon. There will absolutely be an Amazon link once it gets more established that you can purchase through Amazon, ship directly to the collection center in Minneapolis, and forego all of that. All of that happens in advance. Any logistical or gathering questions that you may have, or a fundraising idea, any of those?
I was just trying to think about different things we've done in the past, because I know they went to Detroit, Houston, and Louisiana, New Orleans. Obviously, we've done car washes. We've done chili cook-offs where you vote for the best one and it goes into the basket and that money goes. We also did a youth yard cleanup for our seniors that you could sign up for. And we also did a congregation sign up where you could sponsor one of our attendees, either their meals, you would pray for them on certain hours, you would sponsor their meals, you might sponsor their hotel, that type thing. So we were able to sponsor a youth, and then that fostered a mentoring relationship that whole year. So it wasn't just like, I'm just going to pay for somebody. You actually met, you had lunch, you engaged in devotions, and you really got to know your sponsor throughout the year. So I'm just throwing that out there.
We did something similar, Leslie, where we had a board with 1 through 100 on it, and on the back of each envelope was one of our students' names. And so you picked whatever you wanted to donate, 100 through or $1 through $100. And then during the week that we were gone, the youth would send an update and just send them something about what they did during the day. And oh my gosh, the people at home loved that. although they had to be clear about, hours, because sometimes this would happen at 1 in the morning. So they had to learn to turn their phones off. But that was a great one because it was clearly just a donation, right?
Mhm.
Instead of trying to get them to buy wrapping paper.
Right. We've used that board also, and you raise around about $5,000 if you are successful having most of those envelopes removed. And we sent postcards back to the people, but we also called them. And we called them throughout the time instead of just texting. We actually engaged a conversation with them. And at first, when you told your youth as you're traveling through, on whatever piece of transportation, as you're passing a cell phone around, which is usually the leader's cell phone, right? That you're doing this, they're like, we're not doing this. I can't possibly, but then someone's going to do it. And by the end of the trip, people are like, where's the list? I'm doing the first call. And it's also a huge stewardship gift back to the adults in the congregation, because it is bringing them along also. They really see the impact that you have done with the youth.
Agreed.
We did this, and this worked better because it happened to be primarily like the year of the 500th anniversary of the Reformation while we were doing our fundraising, but our youth sold indulgences.
Oh, fun.
They were like obviously just like baked goods and things, and then also some of the indulgences were like the congregation could like hire the youth to do work in their yards or certain things, and both the youth and the adults loved it and thought it was really cute. And I don't remember the little slogan we used, but it was something akin to the like little a coin in the coffer rings or whatever, and it was cute. Our people liked it a lot. I don't know if it would like be as cute now that we're not in the 500th year of the Reformation, but it still would be fun. And it was
Indulgences are always cute.
right.
It's an ongoing inside joke. It's all good.
Yeah, but it worked really well for like, it was one of the best fundraisers that we did.
Fun.
We also did at Messiah, we just took a calendar and we collected 25 gift cards. We collected $25 gift cards. Has anyone done this fundraiser? And yep, Kathy, we have and it is so easy and so successful. So you collect 25 or 30 $25 gift cards, and you just lay them out on a calendar, and you make the calendar with just the logo of the company, Target, Giant, something that is universal, because you can sell these through social media to everybody. So don't just focus on something local like Giant Eagle. And we took this calendar and we encouraged everybody to sell 10 calendars. And this was a year that we took 30 people. And everyone sold 10 calendars, and we raised $3,000 literally in minutes. The parents put it on their social media pages. People just sent the money in. And then once we finished the sales, we had everyone put all the names of people that purchased things in a hat, and we pulled them out one at a time and say on, March 1st, Sonny Gilroy won a $25 Target gift card, and we sent her a note and mailed the $25 gift card to her, and her name went back in the hat. So you could win more than once. It only happens a couple times that someone wins more than once, but it's a really easy fundraiser and very, very profitable.
I don't understand what that has to do with the calendar.
Because you sell it for each day. You try to sell you have a gift card on every day. So on March 1st you win, and on March 2nd you win, and on March 3rd you win. So
you pulled it on those days.
Well, we actually pulled it before, so we had the 30, but we knew and contacted the people on those days.
So it was a raffle a day.
Yeah.
Very confused. Still don't have any idea what you. It is a stereotype and a cliche that is unfortunately true. Minnesota is known for lutefisk. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Okay.
If you personally have not tasted lutefisk, you might volunteer that if a certain amount of money is raised.
Oh,
A lutefisk dare. I like that.
Yeah.
Is it
It
really
is-
as terrible
is-
as everyone says?
If it's cooked correctly, then it just tastes like bland fish mush.
That's like the best case scenario.
If it's cooked badly, then it tastes like lye, but it shouldn't taste like lye if it's cooked correctly. The whole point of lutefisk is for it to not taste like lye.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on gathering? And I also want to give some time for Kathy Cluck to speak. Kathy is working on our Synod Day, which we don't have a lot of information about yet, but we will as time goes on. Kathy, is there anything you'd like to add?
Just that training hasn't happened yet. They have not unveiled what it is that the team has put together. So there will be an opportunity to go and to learn about that. And then we're instructed when we get back to meet with our bishops and to go through that to see how we want to incorporate that into our Synod Day for our Synod. At that time too, they'll let us know what day we are going to be on. They assigned the day. So we'll get that specific information as well. So that's about it right now.
And during that Synod Day, communion is always offered on that day, and communion is always offered at the closing worship service also. One thing we didn't say at the beginning of this is we recorded this so that we could post it on the YouTube channel. And we should have said at the very beginning, if you would like to not have your picture on the YouTube channel, you could hide yourself now, but it's a little late and you may be on the YouTube channel. Anything else? Feel free to send me your questions. The gathering coordinators have a chat that we communicate regularly on, and I'm happy to answer anything that or pass through a question that I may not have an answer to, or help you any way I can.
We also asked at the earlier webinar, so we'll ask this at this one as well. Would it be helpful to have future webinars on particular topics, or just as a place to come together and share some more best practices? Would you like some more opportunities like this to interact? Maybe even, one time Paul could talk about Synod travel and what that looks like, but would that be something that would be helpful? Okay, I see some head bobs.
Yeah, I think touch points would be good for ideas and confirmation of things and updates.
Good. All right. Now that we've all learned how to do this Zoom thing and we don't have to all meet at the Synod offices, which is no skin off my teeth, but not everybody feels that way. So great. The other thing that I just throw out there, because I don't want it to blindside, there's a lot of planning that goes into these events, and we as leaders get exhausted by them. But the next youth gathering, oh, Bishop, we haven't even wrapped our heads around this one. Yes, well, the next one happens a mere 2 years after the postponed one. In other words, it's not going to be in 2025. It's going to be in 2024. That's a lot because they've already made initial contacts and contracts. So there's only going to be 2 years between. There's not going to be our normal 3 years of recuperation.
Right, or just our down year. To be perfectly honest, after the gathering, we take like a year off and then regroup for 2 years. There's not going to be that this cycle.
Yeah.
We're going to be right in.
So
You know what
I just
location
put
they're
that
looking
out
at?
there for you.
Do you know what location they're looking at for that one?
They don't ever reveal that until the last day of the gathering. It's a big deal.
It is. Yeah, it's a big send off.
It's a big deal.
Come to Cleveland anytime.
We hotels in Cleveland would be so hard.
Right, we don't have the housing.
There's
And-
actually a
and-
quite limited list of cities that can accommodate it.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And we don't have the indoor space for
Yeah.
for the convention center and the dome that we would need. If the Brown Stadium was covered, we could have it.
Yes, yeah. Well, I want to thank you all, not just for being here, but for being willing to take adolescents to a city that you don't know, and to coordinate all of that. It's a gift what you're doing for these children, and they will have one of the best times of their life, and they'll never look at you and say thank you. So I say thank you. Thank you very much for what you're doing. I'll also say as a prize for being part of this Zoom or watching the recording, if you're watching, is that anybody who invites me to come eat with them or spend time with them, as long as my bishopy duties, whatever those might be, at the gathering allow it, I'm in. So I just put that out there. Sometimes I think people think, oh, the bishop must be so very busy. I think I get to make my own schedule in some way. So I put that out there, and vote early, vote often. So I put that out there. It's a bit of a consolation prize for coming and being part of the Zoom. I think that's it. Yeah, Darlene?
I think
Did
that's it.
anything else come to your brain?
No, thank you for
Um,
joining us. You'll be hearing about us. You have all four of us on this Zoom. So you have communications, transportation, synod, and coordinating. So here we are. We're your team for 2022.
Yeah, don't contact me. I don't know anything. So thank you all very much for being here. And don't forget to check out the YouTube page in case your mug gets on in case this is the one we choose and your mug gets on the YouTube channel. So.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great evening. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Good evening. Thanks.